From The Ringer, I'm Tyler R. Times. When I spoke to NFL star Cam Newton in January, his mindset was clear.
I want my whole career to be in Charlotte.
Cam won't be getting that wish. He was released by the Carolina Panthers in March. Cam is a complex figure, and my interest in him goes far beyond his exuberant smile and transcendent style of play. Cam broke the glass ceiling in American athletics, ascending to a place in the sport that few black quarterbacks have ever reached, making his fall that much more dramatic. Over the past year, I've traveled the country speaking to coaches and teammates, friends and family, reporters, and even briefly to the man himself, trying to unravel the enigma that is Cam Newton. I uncovered contradictions at every turn. How can the hardest worker on the team be depicted as a bad leader? And how can a franchise icon with the NFL MVP and Super Bowl appearance on his resume be so abruptly cast aside? The Ringer NFL show presents The Cam Chronicles. The series premieres Monday, July 13th.
Hey guys, it's Juliette Littman, about to do Bachelor Party, but I just want to warn you, I'm an idiot and I messed up my audio for like the first 10 to 15 minutes of this podcast. So it's going to be kind of wonky using that Zoom back up, and then we switch to good, high quality, usual recording. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. Just working from home, making our way through it. All right, let's batch. Welcome to Bachelor Party. I'm Juliette Littman. We're actually going to talk about The Bachelor today. We're going to begin with talking to Alex Michel. Where else would we begin? I'm joined by my colleague, Amelia Wedemeyer. Hi, Amelia. How are you?
Hi, Juliette. I'm, great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm not so into this Bachelor most dramatic or Bachelor greatest seasons of all time situation.
Sure.
But I did enjoy seeing Alex Michel and Trista Ren, Trista Sutter.
The OGs. Oh, yeah, right. Sutter, sorry. Yeah.
She's Sutter now. When we watched it, it was Ren. No big deal. You do all the social media for the Bachelor Party account, so you have watched all of these episodes.
Yes.
Correct?
Indeed, I have.
What's been the most fun for you to relive?
I will say that the Trista Alex seasons, they're not very drama filled, so wasn't a huge fan of them, but I will say
they ranked very low in my ranking back in December, the most dramatic season. Not because they were bad, they just weren't dramatic.
They weren't dramatic. It was like the first, testing of this whole thing. They were the guinea pigs, so to speak. But I've enjoyed looking back at like Tiara. You remember from Sean's season?
Tiara, yes.
Tiara.
She had her sparkle.
Exactly. And just like some of the more random crazy moments, Bachelor Ben Higgins, he engages all the time. So I appreciate him, and, just loving all of the craziest or greatest of all time Bachelor moments I've really enjoyed.
People pointed out there's a couple of licensing restrictions. So actually like Rachel's season they can't show. And I think Nick's season perhaps they can't show because they're licensed to other streaming platforms right now, I believe. And
wow, two of the greatest seasons.
I know. I think it's really weird they didn't start with Alex Michel, but I think that one, I actually watched that one when I did my countdown back in December. So I think it was available on Tubi for a while.
Okay.
And so I was happy to watch this condensed season, but it's weird. So it's weird, but not that riveting. But I think in hindsight, you're like watching for what has changed and what has not changed, and like, how has the show evolved? And so I asked you in preparation for this podcast to hit me with your 5 biggest wait, what moments.
Exactly.
And I did five of my own, and we're going to go through them and hit on the big things from this show. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
First from you, Amelia. OMG, the old mansion.
I guess I didn't watch the first I didn't watch Alex Michel's season, so I had no idea.
It was 2002. We weren't watching in 2002.
That's true. But this old mansion is quaint. It's cute. It's Mediterranean style. I kind of love it. What happened to it?
It's no longer there. I'm glad you asked. It's gone. It was called the Bachelor Villa.
Oh,
Yeah, so it also was like, it was in Malibu. It was more proper Malibu than the current house is, which is actually in Agora Hills. It was like, on the edge of a hill, but they knocked it down and something else is being built in its place. But it was originally built in 1987. It had 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 7,000 square feet, a 1.7 acre plot of land, oceanfront land, a tennis court, an infinity pool, and a 22,000 square foot guest home. I'm guessing that guest home was used for the control room and for production. I bet that's, and like, as I read about it, all of these things make me think it's probably a really good production house. There's a lot of extra space for cameras and all that. But when I was watching it, my main thought about the mansion was it looked like huge. Like the fireplace was really high. The ceilings were really high.
Yeah.
And I thought it made Chris and Alex and the women look like they were in some kind of like Barbie dream house or Ken's dream house, which like maybe was intentional, but it just sort of, because they also were wearing baggy clothes because it was 2002.
The
I was like,
suits.
why is everything oversized?
That's a great question. I don't know, but I kind of loved it.
You prefer it to the current Bachelor Mansion.
Well,
so just for reference, Alex, Michel, the Bachelor Villa. Now we have the Bachelor Mansion.
Right. I mean, the Bachelor Mansion is iconic. Like, I get it. It almost was destroyed by a fire. Like, thank God it's still there. But I will say the villa there's something sweet about it, It's just like, this is sweet. This is quaint. I like it. I don't know.
It reminded me more of like a real world house than of a Bachelor Mansion.
Oh, God. Yes.
When I go back and watch shows from this era, like the main thing is they really remind me a lot more of the real world, the way that they're shot. And like, you realize just how incredibly influential that show was when you go back and watch old shows,
Hell yeah.
It just like all looks a little different. But yeah, they're 2 Mediterranean style houses still. And I don't know. There's something about this villa. It's just a little bit less of like, it's not like a character in the show. It's just more like a house where they're staying.
Sure. So was he staying inside the house as well?
I think he's always stayed somewhere slightly different.
Okay.
If I recall correctly.
Okay. I'm into that.
Yeah. I also felt that like the way they had the candles set up in season 1, every time they had candles at a rose ceremony, it looked more like a seance than like creative lighting design. And like seances were really big in that decade.
Yes, they were. Oh my God. I did seances like at my 12th birthday party, so this makes sense.
Of course. What was light as a feather, stiff as a board?
Yes.
Did you ever watch Now and Then?
Yes, of course.
Great seance. Yes,
agreed. Oh my God.
Totally great. Absolutely great stuff. Okay, let's move on to our next. Wait, what? What? Wait, what? Shannon's handshake goodbye? Amelia, please explain.
Okay, so Shannon, she's a little conservative. She's rocking the brown lipstick, that's a bold move, but whatever. It was 2002. So she is one of the, I think, final 3. And she had told him, Alex, earlier that, she wasn't like probably going to sleep with him, which is totally fine. And that she wasn't like totally comfortable being like in a bikini on TV and whatnot. And I think he was kind of turned off by that. And so he was like, I'm sorry, you're getting the boot. You're not going to bone me. Sorry, bye. And she was legitimately pissed off that she didn't make it further. And this is, pre-influencers. So I'm thinking that she had some real feelings there. And she even comes back and is like, why? After shaking his hand when he says goodbye to her.
So a couple things about Rhonda.
Or Shannon.
Sorry. A couple things about Shannon. Excuse me. I believe it was Shannon who got the Pretty Woman date, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
The original Pretty Woman
yeah.
date. And so, like we discussed back in December, this show in many ways has not changed at all. One of them being that they still do this fucking offensive Pretty Woman date. And it's weird enough that it's all these women competing to date this guy, right?
Yeah.
And I loved how Alex and Michel was like, what's the etiquette for a 6-person date? I mean, I'm not hosting a party. It's a date. Anyway, she had the Pretty Woman date, and she seemed like very fine with that, as they usually do. Now it's like a bigger joke, but like I think there was more room to be like, what are you doing here? Like, why are we doing this back then? Which she then proved, and which we'll talk about in a second. But I was just horrified when she got the Pretty Woman date, and I was like, God, they've been doing this since day one. They've like turned these women into prostitutes by being like, let me just take you to Rodeo Drive and you can try on any dress you want.
She literally was like, I feel like I'm in Pretty Woman.
Yes, she said it. And it's like, that is a movie about a prostitute. So, okay. I mean, I guess it like kind of makes sense with The Bachelor, but it just has always made me really uncomfortable. I was like, with Shannon, my wait what with her was not the goodbye, which I did think was interesting and different, but I was just fascinated by her refusing to get into the hot tub. She didn't want to take her robe off.
Not at all.
And I mean, who can't relate to that? You know, like
True.
that's like, I mean, many times in my life, I've been like, do we have to get in the hot tub right now?
Right.
Really? Like, you know, at parties and whatever. But I just thought that was like fascinating to see play out on television. And it made me feel so bad for her. Like in real life, when you're not on camera and you're just like a random person in the world and like you're uncomfortable getting into a hot tub,
Totally.
It's like awkward enough. And then when you're on this dating show in front of all these people with a guy you barely know, I mean, I can't imagine what that had been like.
I mean, I think it was definitely awkward. I think she, was, and I understand that and I get it. And she has a rockin' bod. Like, so it's just.
Yeah, they all do.
Of course. And it's just like, you know what? I like this refreshing kind of like, I don't want to take off my clothes and be in a bikini. It's relatable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The women were more relatable back then.
Totally.
I mean, in some ways they were like less relatable than ever because you're like, it wasn't remotely normalized to go on reality TV. It was like a really
so
strange
true.
thing to do.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like I think it was Rhonda who talked about having an anxiety attack.
Yes.
And Shannon is out here being nervous about her body and not just wanting to have sex with him. And like, those are just like, as basic as it may be, those things are not really present on reality television anymore. And so it seems like super relatable.
Totally. And I love that. I love that aspect.
Me too. Also, all these women, gorgeous and like natural looking.
Yes.
I mean, like if their makeup is bad, it's because it's like regular person bad, not because it's like too much bronzer.
Exactly. And they don't look like they've gotten like lip injections or, collagen in their cheeks or something. They just look really natural, like someone you would meet at the supermarket,
Yeah, 100%. I really like this group of women. Like I liked Shannon,
Yeah.
I liked Rhonda, I liked Lanice, I liked all of them.
Totally, me too. They were nice, and we got to see them, practically 20 years later, and they all look great too. They
do look great.
amazing. So
Lanice, I was really blown away by.
Yeah.
She brought it. She was like ready to be on camera.
she was, yes, definitely. Oh God.
Also, so many nice kitchens where I feel like did you watch last week's Real Housewives of New York by any chance?
I didn't.
So it's the first episode where they had to do some of the interviews in quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
So like Ramona's in her kitchen and like
I love
Leah's in her
that.
living room, and these homes like look very similar to what we saw in the Real Housewives. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow. So
Great stuff.
they're living like a nice privileged life. I'm into that for them.
Yeah. I mean, I think also it speaks to the homogenization of design
True.
in suburban homes in America, but
That too.
there's that
Okay.
as
Yeah.
well. Thanks, Chip and Joanna Gaines.
God.
But whatever.
Oh, God.
But I also thought Shannon's goodbye was just like the highlight of this very rough 3-hour boring show.
It was tough, but I just love how she stuck her hand out and was like, okay.
Also really liked her goodbye outfit. I think it was like kind of like a deep burgundy, had like a bit of a bodice and a skirt,
Yes.
I think.
And was it, I know she wore several things with like the choker, which is like in now, but also it's just like, that's a weird look. I'm sorry.
Yes, and so this is your the next thing that you sent, or the next moment that you sent along for, wait, what? Was the horrendous fashion.
Yes.
And I want to counter. I'd like to counter. I think the fashion is kind of good.
Okay. That's fine because everything old is new again. So yeah, honestly.
Well, let's take the denim out of the equation.
Okay.
Let's get rid of everyone's jeans because everyone's jeans were bad. But I was rewatching some One Tree Hill this weekend, and all of their jeans were also bad. It was a rough time from like 1995 to like 2010 and 12, denim went
Yes.
through some really bad days.
True. Oh my God. I cannot tell you how many flares and bootcut jeans I've bought over the years.
Low rider flare jeans
Oh,
doesn't
no.
get worse than that. Even really skinny people look bad in them.
100%. And it's always like baggy looking. It's never good.
It's a really bad look. It was really pervasive on One Tree Hill and on The Bachelor in 2002. So let's take everyone's denim out of the equation.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Cushiony for Target?
I'm familiar with the brand Cushiony, but not Cushiony
Yes.
for Target.
Okay, so Cushiony is a brand, makes a lot of really cool dresses, particularly flattering for women with curves, but like really for all sizes. Cushiony has a line for Target right now. There's like
Wow.
4 or 5 dresses. They're really cool. I saw someone wearing one recently, and I was like, Cushiony for Target. That's awesome. Anyway, I felt that many of the dresses with kind of like that like spaghetti strap,
Ooh, yeah.
shoulder strap, they're kind of like the like drapey.
The cowl neck.
Yeah, kind of like the drapey cowl neck neckline
Yes.
was very back like in then and back now. And it's not a look that I wear, but I think it's a good look. And I think it's actually quite fashionable.
No, totally. Hannah Brown was wearing that, and I'm pretty sure it was Cushiony. Like I'm almost 100% sure. I'm serious.
There you go. Whose fashion when you were like, oh my God, this is appalling?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Rhonda wearing that zebra print, fluffy like edges
Wasn't
thing.
great.
It wasn't great, but you know what? They talked for some God knows why. They talked to Demi and Nicole about it. Chris was like, "Okay, guys, what do you think of the fashion?" And Demi didn't like that look, but I think Nicole liked it. Which again, everything from the 2000s is like cool again. So
It is true. Not everything.
not everything, but a decent
most
amount.
things.
Yeah.
I would say in some ways I thought their bathing suits were the most out of fashion.
Oh my God. Sure. Yeah. Oh my God. The high rise, like, yeah.
And just like that sort of like string bikini that's just like very like 90210. I've just arrived in California and this is what I think people wear on the beach. Like, I don't know. I thought that their swimsuits were the most out of fashion, but I liked a lot of their other clothes. I don't know.
No, they weren't bad.
My eye has been retrained. Well, Amelia, you said that fashion was horrendous. I want you to defend your take.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, it was the fashion. Like, I don't know, tube tops. That's just like, that's a hard look for me. But you know what?
Tube tops are rough. I agree.
They're a little, and the dudes' jackets. I'm sorry, but Chris.
Okay, that's a different story. Chris and Alex Michel, their clothes were
Yikes.
awful. They were like
Awful.
Michael Jordan inspired, like all the fits.
Yes.
And so many oatmeal and taupe colors.
It's too many. Oh my God. And the hair gel mixed in with all that. It was just like, no.
Do you think Chris Harrison looks like he has aged? There's a lot of convo, and particularly by Chris Harrison himself, about if he has aged well or not.
I mean, I think he's aged great. Like, he still looks like the same version, just maybe like a little older.
I think I prefer 47-year-old Chris, to be honest.
Me too. This Chris is a little too baby. He's definitely just like a child. Sorry to say.
He was 32. It must be really, really weird for him to go back and watch this stuff. And then to like, I mean, it's not like he keeps in touch with any of these contestants. So when he talks to them on his television in his home studio for the first time, it must be super awkward.
You can tell it's super awkward. He's just like, and like pauses, and it's just like, oh yeah, get your husband. Okay, hi kids.
Oh my God, but when I think it was Shannon, when Shannon's son came out at the end and said, "Hi, Mr. Chris." That was so cute.
That was adorable. That was very sweet.
I'm just happy these people have gone on to live normal lives. I think that's one of the major differences. You could like recede from this, if you were on it in 2002.
Yeah.
And I think that like a lot of the Bachelor people can, like if they decide to just like exit Bachelor Nation, they can go back to real life. But someone's always going to take a picture of them and put it on Reddit.
Totally. That's kind of what happened with Alex Michel. He doesn't want to be a part of this anymore, but
I know.
Someone like dug up his LinkedIn photo and he pretty much looks the same.
It's interesting how they cannot get a hold of him. I know they've tried multiple times. He just does. He must have like been really scarred by the experience.
He just doesn't want any part of it. He's like, nope.
It's kind of weird.
It is a little weird. It is a little weird. Like, you're the first Bachelor. That's kind of a big deal. And you don't want to just say hi or something. I mean, they freaking had that interview with Cassie and she literally said nothing for 5 minutes. So
if it was going to happen, it would have happened during quarantine. Like, everyone's gettable right now because everyone's just at home, you know? So I have no hope for that we'll ever hear from Alex Michel. Let's go through some more of our takeaways. But first, let's talk about Article. Are you craving a new look for your home? Article combines the curation of a boutique furniture store with the comfort and simplicity of shopping online. With plush sofas, cozy lounge chairs, and dining tables, the whole family can gather around. Article has what you need to feel at home. Its designers focus on beautifully crafted pieces, quality materials, and durable construction, all while fitting into a modern aesthetic of mid-century Scandinavian, industrial, and bohemian designs. And you save up to 30% over traditional retail prices. Article keeps their prices low by cutting out the middleman and selling directly to you. No showroom, no salespeople, no retail markups. Fast, affordable shipping is available across the US and Canada and is free on orders over $999. All in-stock items are delivered in 2 weeks or less. That's a 30-day return policy with simple returns and exchanges. I love all of my Article furniture. I did need a new look a few months ago, and so I bought a awesome end table and a really cool cabinet, and you know what? I love them. Article is offering you, the listener, $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Go to article.com/bachelor and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/bachelor to get $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Okay, next wait what moment. This is from you, Amelia.
okay.
What the fuck? Rhonda is just shooting a rifle off of a yacht? Great point. What
Thank
was
you.
that?
I don't know. I also liked how they sprinkled in, like, this is the first time that, like, the first kiss and then the first, can I steal him for a second and all that stuff. And this one she was the first aggressive one, quote unquote. And then also the first person to say, I'm not here to make friends. Well, freaking
Yes.
Rhonda. Yeah. It was the Rhonda show for a little bit.
Rhonda is an absolute legend. Rhonda and Shannon were the standouts of the season for me.
Agreed.
Although I say that though, but even both the clip show and if you go back and watch season 1, it was edited so heavily towards Trista. It's like she was like clearly the favorite of everyone. It seems like everyone does truly love her, but if you go back and you watch it, like nowadays people would think Trista was going to win, but they clearly were just setting her up to like be on television again because she got such a generous edit. Although she seems like a lovely person, so maybe that was just like who she was.
Sure.
And she got a lot of screen time. It was always about like how's Trista feeling. Like she was a standout from the very beginning.
That's true. That's definitely true. Oh my god.
Oh man. But also it was so funny the first time they go on a yacht and they're like, oh my god, a yacht. And now yachts are just like a huge part of both my personal interests and also reality TV.
Exactly.
But it was really, and it wasn't even that nice of a yacht, but they were like so excited to be on a boat. It's very funny, right? To like see the sort of like basic building blocks of not just The Bachelor, but reality television of like what indicates luxury and like Las Vegas, yachts, hot tubs. And those are the things that like still persist as like associated with a special luxurious time.
Right. And that saying it was a yacht was honestly, that was generous. It was generous. And freaking Rhonda just the next thing we see them like going, oh my god, it's a yacht, this is so cool. And then we see Rhonda and she's freaking breaking out the rifle and just shooting into the air after he was like, we're whale watching. And I'm like, oh my, are they freaking gonna shoot some whales? What the fuck is going on?
Why do they have a rifle aboard this vessel? Do they need
it? It was so random.
It really was incredibly random. Okay, let's keep it moving. You said this season is surprisingly sexy at some parts. And to that I say, Alex Michel obviously picked Amanda because he's the one that he wanted to sleep with the most. It is so apparent. So
apparent.
A couple, even in the edit, it came through. But I remember from watching the season, it was very clear as well. A couple things about Amanda. Alex said that she had a real creative sexuality and that he was getting it like a gift. So I was absolutely dying. And then she also revealed that at one point, she bought a trapeze to use with like her boyfriend to like make things more interesting. So Amanda is really freaky, and it's absolutely no surprise whatsoever that she won. Like, I just can't get over it.
Well, and the moment she walked out of the limo, like, she has big boobs, and it was just like, she's got big boobs. And then also, I think she said the trapeze thing on the first episode. It seemed like it was on the first episode.
She did.
And then he was like, so they were in the limo, and this was later on, and she was just like, I have like Wonder Woman outfits and all these.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, she was into cosplay before cosplay was a thing.
So incredible. It's just like when you see that unfolding and you're like, how do these people end up together? It's just like, oh, right, just for the sex.
Right.
And then it's like, but they had the fantasy suite. I mean, I guess it went great. He's just a real think with his dick kind of guy, I suppose.
So, you know what? He's honest about it. And also the fantasy suite, he was talking, it contained a plastic sheet, chocolate and caramel ice cream, and there was like kind of, you could tell it was like a naked pic of Amanda. I was like, this is The Bachelor? What?
It definitely was like a little bit like randier back then.
It really was, which I appreciate, honestly. That's dramatic.
I do too.
Yeah.
Pretending it's like some kind of like holy, like
chaste.
Let's just get together, like get to know each other. Yeah.
Oh, screw that.
Weird. It is weird how the show has like become more chaste. Alex was very sex positive, I would say. It was like it wasn't like overdoing it, but it was like overtly sexual for his season. And for some reason with like this more recent seasons, I mean, if Tyler had been the Bachelor, it would not have been the case. And this wasn't true for Hannah's season, but it's become like way more chaste, and like
totally
sex is like way less a part of the show, even though like it builds to the fantasy suites. And I think a lot of the leads have contributed to this. Maybe this is like just their own reputation saving, but they're like, well, it's the only time you have to be together without cameras, so it's like really important to talk. But it's like, okay, is it just important to talk?
Exactly. We see all these like sexy waterfall shots where you're clearly rubbing up against each other. It's like, come on.
I know. It's weird. Reality TV, I've been thinking a lot about reality TV in the previous decade. There was a lot more, it was just sort of more direct about sex. In some ways, The Bachelor like skirts around it, and it's like a lot of like foreplay, but no actual sex. Whereas I think it used to be the opposite on reality TV.
Okay, and I quoted this. I wrote it down because I was like, wow, I can't believe he asked her this. But this is what Alex asked Shannon in the limo. I want to hear about these rules that you live by. What does it mean to be a good girl, and how does that relate to sex? Yeah.
He was looking to get it. Seriously,
he really was.
He's an underrated sex bachelor.
He really is. And he was like, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. And she was like, yeah, I don't think you are sorry. I think you thought about this. Which honestly, good for you, Shannon, for standing up.
Yeah, seriously. Shannon was great. She like knew who she was.
Yes.
And she wouldn't be pushed around. She wouldn't be pushed into that hot tub. Seriously, I've never related to anyone on The Bachelor more than Shannon like not wanting to take her robe off. It was great.
Iconic. God bless you, Shannon. Seriously.
And then Trista, I mean, the Trista recap was just absolutely so boring. They should have just made it a Bob recap instead. Not because like I don't like Trista. I do like Trista. I think Trista and Ryan seem immensely nice.
Yes.
Immensely normal.
Yes.
And immensely boring. Like but like because they're great. And so the second when I saw they were just like it was the second hour of Trista, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like this is brutal. Absolutely brutal. Also, Ryan, way more attractive now than back then. Ooh. Love his look.
Yeah. Yeah. And also he surprised Trista. Another boring aspect. It's like, oh, you're being surprised by your husband? Are you serious right now? This is so fucking boring.
Yeah, I know. And she was like, I will say The Bachelor, they obviously tried really hard to like bring in some like special stuff to these clip shows. But this week we got Demi and Nicole critiquing Michelle's clothing
for like 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
I like Nicole. I wish we had like gotten more of Nicole in a less like she's like a crazy Latin woman and more like who Nicole actually is, you know?
I genuinely think that she is really kind and smart and funny.
I was
So,
gonna say I think she seems quite smart as well.
Yeah.
Like I would actually think that she'd be a good character if she wasn't like being characterized as like boy crazy or fighting with Onyeka.
totally. And she also is a good sport because I've definitely tagged her in things on Batch Party Pod, and she always like retweets and she engages. So she's a nice person.
I think she does seem like a nice person. I'm gonna try to get her on the podcast. This conversation has inspired me. But I was like, I so prefer her to Demi in that bit.
Oh my God. I know. Demi, it's like, we get it. We get it, Demi. All right. You're controversial or you're like, oh, spicy. Like, I don't care. I don't care about Demi anymore. Sorry. Like, we get it.
I don't either. I've moved on. I'm ready for all new people. I'm ready. I'm excited for Matt and for Claire because I want all new people, full stop. The other thing we got was Cassie appearing to talk about her breakup, but she refused to talk about her breakup.
She literally talked about nothing for 5 minutes.
They were like, why'd you break up? And she said she wasn't ready to talk about it and they're still going through it. She said it wasn't because of coronavirus.
Right.
I think the show is like forever mad at Colton, so I bet that's why he wasn't on. They didn't ask him, is my guess.
Probably.
I think because he went on This American Life last summer, he's like forever in the doghouse is my suspicion.
I believe it.
But Cassie, again, I feel like she's just gonna like go off and have a normal life. She'll just, be a Southern California speech pathologist.
Sure.
And that sounds great.
I could see that, but she was also on a reality show before she was on The Bachelor.
Yes, it was set at her college where I believe she went to a Christian college and it was about like people like navigating it. It was called Biola, I think is the name of her school.
Okay.
But maybe she scratched that itch. Maybe she doesn't want to be famous anymore.
Okay, sure. Maybe just like an influencer?
Maybe. But I don't know. She took a 1-month social media break.
Wow.
And she broke contracts. Like she was, supposed to be promoting stuff.
Okay.
And she didn't. She posted about this and she was like, against people's advice, I broke contracts and I did a 1-month social media detox. She says she went to 2 protests, spent time with her family, and it seemed like pretty healthy and
That's
normal.
Good.
Yeah. And the other like rumor on the streets, which is purely conjecture, is that Becca and Garrett may have broken up because it seems like they didn't spend the 4th of July together. And I wonder if like political differences are coming between some of these couples.
Maybe.
Maybe because Becca on Bachelor Happy Hour a couple weeks ago said stuff with her and Garrett was like up in the air.
That's what I heard too.
So, yeah, and because I think she said it directly. And so I thought it was pretty pointed that Cassie included that she went to 2 protests.
Ooh.
And
that's so true.
I don't know, but like that was just my interpretation, and I think we'll learn more as time goes on. I have a feeling Colton will want his side of the story to be out if Cassie's beginning to speak a little bit. So it's interesting. But I just thought that like she was like, this is what I was doing with my time, which is not how I was spending my time before that. And I don't know. It's just fascinating to me.
Well, Colton and Garrett seem like little bitches, and I just don't like people like that. I think they're a waste of space, and I don't support people who are little bitches like that. And that's what I think Colton and Garrett both are. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel.
I've never really been a fan of either of them. But I'm curious to see what Colton does next. I just feel like Cassie's talking. He probably will as well.
I mean, he wrote a book. Like, he's always like, here, let me say things. Like,
I get these crazy automated text messages. I don't know how to get off. I like signed up for his community.
No!
And but they go to my Google Voice text messages, not my main text messages at least.
Thank
But
God.
it's really rough. A couple other quick pieces of news from Bachelor Nation. Andy Dorfman, she moved to LA, and then she was immediately seen running along the Santa Monica Venice boardwalk with Nick, but he clarified that they are just friends, not dating.
Sure.
So, FYI.
All right.
Nick also has like gotten into roller skating. I'm not sure, but okay. Congrats to them. Andy left New York. How sad for the city. And last piece of news, apparently Tyler went to the Bahamas on his boat, leaving the Miami area or Fort Lauderdale area, wherever he is.
Wow.
That's a Tyler update. Have to include it. I've noticed that Matt James has pulled back on some of the social media since becoming The Bachelor.
That's probably good.
Wise. For sure wise.
Yeah.
In the latest I heard with Claire's season is they were going to try to shoot the whole thing in Southern California over like 5 weeks or something like that. I don't know if it's going to happen. I am too. I mean, Bachelor in Paradise works for a reason, and part of it is like
Yeah.
is not that they're is like I think being in one location is actually good.
Yes.
So it'd be good, and just like let's mix it up a little bit. Why do they have to travel all over the place? I mean, I think that's kind of like forcing of a change of format could be good. I wonder if they can pull it off. Like, can they seal their bubble better than the NBA can in Orlando? I don't know.
Oof, yikes. Yikes. Ooh, I don't think so. But who knows? Maybe.
They should just do Claire and Matt at the same time in one resort. That's
Oh my
that's
God.
pitch.
I would actually be so into that. I'm so into that idea.
It would almost be like Bachelor, Bachelorette college. And it would just sort of be like a big campus of like people like hanging out. And
Yes.
then this is the thing, they could finally do my big idea.
Okay.
Which is if you get voted off, you have to stay on the campus, stay in the
Oh
bubble,
my-
right?
I love
And so it's like Ponderosa on Survivor, but it's like Bachelor cast off or whatever. I always thought this should be Manhattan Beach, but they could just do it wherever. And I just think it's a perfect opportunity to try it out.
I
And
think
people
this
are
is a
going to
great
want
idea.
more content, not less, because TV production's so backed up. We're not getting new TV in the fall of 2020. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, ABC.
I just think this is such a good idea. Oh my, can you imagine the hookups once the people
Yes.
get booted and just all of, oh my God. Yes.
So they could film
co-sign.
Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Paradise,
And Paradise.
all at once.
Oh
eventually.
my God. You're a
I
genius.
solved it.
I love this. I love this idea.
Thank you so much. Going forward, we're going to dip in and out of the greatest seasons evers as they continue to air over the next few weeks. And it's finally time to dip into this HBO Max Bachelor well. They've got shows from all over the world. So I'm going to go through it and we'll set up like a viewing schedule to start covering some of these shows. I think it's going to be fun.
I love that.
Awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Amelia, thanks for joining me. If you want more Amelia, listen to Tea Time on Ringer Dish on Fridays. And of course, follow Bachelor Party Pod on Twitter and on Instagram and join our group on Facebook. We will talk to you soon.